Hi, I'm Richard from Glowing Embers. Welcome back to this series of more technical videos about building rigs and how they relate to wood burning stoves and flues. And we're sort of just going to power through some of the information about flues. There's a lot. At the moment we'll just do the overview so you understand what you're looking at, and hopefully by the end of this video, when you're looking on sites like Glowing Embers and there's just loads of different types of flue, hopefully it'll make a bit more sense to you as to what you need. So there are three basic types of flue pipe, and only two of those are classified as actual flue systems. The other one is literally just called stove pipe or connecting pipe, and I'll talk about that first, and then I'll talk about what actually is a flue system. So this is what's called a stove or connecting pipe. It is a single wall meaning it's just one bit of metal, and this is a vitreous enamelled pipe, so it's steel coated in vitreous enamel, so it's a really hard wearing pipe. They're good and get used basically as the first part from your wood burning stove. So the first bit of flue is usually this. They're used for that for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because they're really, being vitreous enamel, they're really strong, really hard wearing, and that's the hottest part of the stove. The second is you get some extra heat out from your flue pipe because there's no insulation on this at all. It'll just fill your room with extra heat. And thirdly, they match the stove as well quite nicely. They're usually black wood burning stoves, as you probably noticed. So this is the first bit, but it is just the first bit. In itself, it doesn't classify as a flue system. You can't have a whole flue system of just enamelled pipe or a single wall pipe. It doesn't class as a flue system. In some countries that's different. I know in some countries this is used, but not in the UK. So what classifies as a flue system? Well, it's these two options that we've got behind us. And I'll show you an example of each: flexible flue liner or twin wall flue liner. Twin wall flue, I should say. So the first is the flexible flue liner, this is a very short bit of liner, and it's called flexible because it bends, and it's designed to bend so not all chimneys are straight like this. Often they have kinks, and you can literally feed them through an existing chimney, and it's a continuous length of pipe. Again, it's single wall, and we make this here on site in Braintree, and this literally drops down your chimney. You put it in from the top, drop it down, and it connects to your stove pipe, which we were just looking at the bottom. Now, this is classed as a flue system, but this is only allowed to be used inside an existing chimney. So you cannot use this if you don't have an existing chimney, or if you're not going to be using the existing chimney. So that is the first thing. The second is twin wall flue, and this is a metre length of Shieldmaster flue, one of our own brands of flue, and this is what you use if you don't have a chimney. So this is basically build your own chimney, and it's called twin wall because you've got the inner pipe here, just like the single wall pipe here, but you've got a layer of insulation around the outside and a second wall, if you like, or a second pipe around the edge. So this is twin wall, and this is for external use if you're going to pass through walls, floors, ceilings, anything like that. This comes in stainless steel or black to match the stove, so often you can go black internally, silver externally, it really depends. Those are the three types of pipe, but remember, really one's just a connection to one of the other two types of flue. Now, we mentioned diameter in the last video. The diameter of your flue is set by your stove. So whatever the outlet of your stove is, it has to be at least that. So if it's a 5-inch outlet on your stove, your flue system has to be at least 5 inches. You can increase up to 6, and there's sometimes a good reason to do that, but that's what you need to know about the flue height, about the flue diameter. The second thing you should know is direction. So again, we do things the opposite of some countries in Europe, and the opposite to what most people often think, the opposite way around. So when you get a bit of pipe like this, you'll notice that the bottom part, well, one end has a little reduction, and that's so if you're going to put more than one pipe together, they fit in together, and the other end is just straight like this. In this country, we always have the connecting end pointing downwards. And a lot of people think that it should be the other way up like that. Sometimes this end fits better into your stove outlet than this end. That doesn't matter, you just pack it with a bit of stove rope and fire cement and that seals it. And some people think that because the smoke is going up, not having the join sort of facing down means that the smoke's less likely to escape. But actually the reason for this is smoke won't escape through it. Firstly, it gets drawn up by your chimney anyway. And if you had your pipe this way up and there's another bit on there, you've got a ridge internally. And what happens is, just like when you've got hot and cold, you've got hot gases running through this, cold air on the outside or cooler air on the outside, you get condensation building up on the inside of your pipe. It'll run down your pipe and it'll sit here on the join and start corroding the join. And that's why in this country it all has to start that way around. So when you start your flue system, it always starts that way around, otherwise nothing else will fit. So from there you will need one of these two things. That connects to your the flue liner, and that connects to your twin wall pipe. It's one or the other depending on which flue system you're using, and then from there on you can see both have all the pipes have a male and female end. Again, you keep the male end pointing downwards and seal as you go on up. Which brings me to sealing the twin wall pipe, or sealing pipes in general. The single wall pipe here, every join and the join to the stove has to be sealed with fire cement. It's a very cheap, very easy to apply substance and just dries. It does crack, so it needs reapplying every now and again, but it's fairly easy to join. With twin wall pipe, it all comes with a locking band. Every joint comes with a locking band, so it needs no fire cement, nothing. You just push them together and snap the locking band shut, and that is sealed. With flue liner, obviously there is only the top and the bottom connection, and they're fire cemented in as well. So that's sealing your pipes. Now, there is a lot more regulations when it comes to twin wall flue pipe, and we'll go through that in a separate video. But the basic overview that we can give here is no 90-degree bends in a flue system apart from directly out of your stove. There are some slight exceptions to this, but mainly never go at 45 degrees. So you see here when we've gone through the wall, we've gone through at 45 degrees. That's the maximum angle you're allowed to have in a flue system, unless it's directly out the back of your stove. So if you're using the rear outlet of your stove rather than the top outlet of your stove, you can come sort of straight out the back and straight up with a T-piece, and that's acceptable. But after that, it has to be no more than 45 degrees. And the reason for that really is that hot air rises, and the flue is, you want to be drawing the smoke out, and it doesn't go in horizontal lines. So we want to avoid that as much as possible. There is a slight softening of that rule, so you can have a small length of horizontal at the start of your system to go through a wall, but you have to get it computer calculated, and there's a whole load of sort of steps to go through before doing that. So I would just avoid that if you can. And the only other thing I should point out really at this point is minimum heights of flue systems. Now, it's not necessarily a regulation, but it is something that you should know. A minimum of 4.5 meters is suggested, and that is to ensure that your flue works well. So that's a minimum of 4.5 meters from the bottom of your flue, the top of your stove, to the top of your flue system. And that basically means, because flues draw, or the smoke gets drawn up by two main factors. The first one being heat, hot air rises. The second one being the difference in air pressure between the top and the bottom. So we all know, as you go up big mountains, the air gets thinner up there. And so if you have a pipe between the top and the bottom, the other law of nature is everything wants to equalize. So it's going to naturally draw air from your room up your flue system. And that's how you ensure that you get a good start to your stove. So when the air's not hot, you've got a cold chimney, it's a cold stove, you're lighting it. If you don't have that minimum of 4.5 meters and it's a short system, you're much more liable to get smoke into your room. And extending your flue system another meter or so can really help with that problem as well. So that's a really good overview of the flue systems, and we can do a bit more of a breakdown on each of the flue systems in subsequent videos. So I know that's been a bit of a long one, but if it's been helpful, it'd be great to give us a like or a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to hear about new videos coming out. And any comments, questions, leave them in the comments below. We do read them. Otherwise, thanks for watching the video.